So guys, I'm Paul and welcome to my channel. And in this video, we're going to be talking about e-commerce SEO, because it's something that a few people have asked me to do a video on, and I thought it was about time I pulled my finger out and actually got round and done the video. Now, before I get into this, I do just want to say I'm not a professional SEO. It's not what I do for a living, but everything that I'm going to show you in this video are things that I've picked up over my time of running an e-commerce business and also my time running a blog as well, because SEO is a very important part of both businesses, so my e-commerce website and also my blog website as well. So it's something I've spent a long time doing, and I did have success with ranking products in search engines and actually generating sales from organic search results. So I'm going to do my best to show you what I've learned, so hopefully you can understand a little bit more about the process of doing SEO for e-commerce. Now, what you'll see on screen now is the demo product I created specifically for this video, and as you'll see, it's a ring. And the reason why I did this was because my e-commerce business was in the jewelry sector, and I'm still very much involved with the jewelry trade today, so it just made sense to do something that I know about and I understand for the purposes of this video. But what I'm going to talk about basically can be applied to any type of product, but I thought I'd stick with one that I know about. Now, on this page, there's actually 5 separate elements that can influence your website's SEO. And I'm going to go through each one in this video so you understand the different basic elements that make up the SEO of your product pages. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is this right here, which is the product title. And this is arguably the most important part of your product page. The reason is, this is what's going to hook people to come to your website, because it's the thing they're going to see in search engines. So when you search for anything, it's always the title that appears in the bold lettering on Google. I'm going to show you some examples of this in a minute. So this is the important thing, because this is what's going to hook people in and make them click on your link to go to your website. But what you need to do with this is you need to add the right keywords to it. Great, Paul, but how do you do keyword research? Well, fortunately, there's 2 great tools that you can use, and they're completely free. And they come from our friends over at Google. So what we're going to do is going to go over to our new tab with Google. And what you'll see is you've got the search bar. And this is actually the first tool that you're going to use, because it does auto suggest. And this is a fantastic tool. So for this, we're just going to start with our main keyword, which is signet ring. Now, if we start typing signet ring, which is our main keyword, what you'll see is it's auto suggesting some terms that people have searched for recently, because every one of these search terms is something that somebody has typed into Google recently. And this starts giving you keyword ideas. So we started with our main keyword, which was signet ring. It's already giving us some other keywords that we can make note of. And when you're doing this process, you want to make a list of keywords. So for this one, you can see that there's signet ring in gold, in silver, women, men's, Birmingham, engraving, UK. I'm based in the UK, so obviously it's doing UK-based search results. But you're seeing keywords that you can potentially add into your product listing. And you want to make note of any ones that are relevant to your product. So for this, we're just going to do a search for signet ring. Now, a lot of people would actually want to rank for this keyword, but for me personally, I wouldn't. The reason is, this is too broad a search term. There's no buyer intent with this search term. In fact, this is the exact same search term I put in to find the product image for my demo product. There's lots of different reasons why people might be searching just the term signet ring. They might be looking for images, they might be looking for the history of signet rings. There's no real definite answers to what they're searching for. But you'll see some options appear on screen. If you scroll down, you'll see that there's some local companies that appear. This is pretty good if you've actually got a physical storefront. You do want to try and rank for this, get basically local SEO going. If you've got like a storefront, this is something you definitely want to focus on. But for main e-commerce, you're going to be focused on this bit down the bottom. Now, you see that there's people may ask. This is also a great way of getting keywords, because you can see what people are asking. So if there's a keyword that pops up there, you think, oh, I could potentially add that to my product. It's just another area of the product search page that you can use to help generate keywords. And as you scroll down, you'll see that there's different ones appear. And a lot of these are basically retail outlets. They're retail companies that do signet rings. But as we scroll down to the bottom, what you'll see is there's related searches. And this is the second tool that's great for generating keywords, because this shows obviously related searches that people have done similar to the search that you just put in. And it's going to show you some other options for keywords that you can start noting down. So for this one, you've got things like men's signet ring, personalized, UK gold. Once again, it's very similar to those auto-suggest ones, but as you get with longer tail keywords, what you'll see is more varied search terms and related search terms starting to appear in this bottom bit, and it can be really helpful for doing keyword research. So for this one, I'm going to click on men's signet rings because, as we just saw, my product was a men's signet ring. And once again, this is a very broad search term. There's no real kind of buyer intent with this. This is the part where they're kind of narrowing down their process, they're narrowing down their selection. And if we scroll down the page, you'll see that there's basically more options come up for retail outlets. You've got your local SEO, but as you scroll down to the bottom, you'll actually see there's a blog post appear. And this just reinforces the thing that I was saying, that there's no real buyer intent with this search term because Google still doesn't know what exactly I'm looking for. It just knows I'm looking for men's signet rings, but it doesn't know whether I want to buy them or I'm just looking to research about them. So this is why it's thrown up a blog post. And this is why when you're SEOing your product pages, you want to be focusing on the more longer tail keywords because they're going to have much more buyer intent. And the more keywords that somebody's typing into a search engine, the more they know exactly what product they want. They're just looking for somebody to buy it from, and that's where you want to be landing. Now, another thing you can do when you're using Google as basically a keyword research tool is you can use a method called alphabet soup, which is really useful. And to do this, what you do is you just take your main keyword. So with this, we go with men's signet ring, put a space, and then you just put the letter A, see what comes up, B, see what comes up, and just work your way through the alphabet. And this will present another selection of keywords that may be suited to your product and ones that you may never have thought about. It's a bit of a long-winded process, but it is very useful. I've actually used this personally, and I found it very helpful. I found lots of keywords that I may not otherwise have thought of. And when you're doing the keyword research, this is where you want to spend most of your time because this is where you want to get your product so it ranks for the most keywords possible because it's going to increase the chances of somebody clicking on your website and actually buying from you. So it's worth spending the time to start with on your keyword research because it will just make the process so much easier later on. So that's how you can do your keyword research. It's very simple. Now, going back to our product page, when it comes to the keywords you want to include in your title, you want to include the main ones that you want to rank for. These are your primary keywords, your primary long tail keyword. So for me on this page, it's men's 9-carat gold personalized oval signet ring. These are all keywords I got from doing a quick bit of keyword research before I actually started doing this video. And these are what I would like to rank this product for because that's the target market it's aimed at. Now, one thing you do want to do when you're SEOing your product page is you don't want to focus it 100% for search engines. This is something that people fall into when they're just getting started with SEO, and it's called keyword stuffing. Basically, they find all these keywords, they just chuck them onto their product page and hope that it's going to rank for it. That used to work a few years ago, but it doesn't now. This is because search engines are constantly evolving. And what they want is they want to see keywords put in the post organically because it should be a mix of basically being suitable for search engines and also suitable for the person actually reading the page. Because when you go through your product page, you want it to read organically. So it's the way somebody would basically say it in conversation, or if they was explaining it to you, if you was in a shop or something like that. You want it to sound organic. Not that you've just found a load of keywords and you're just trying to get your product to rank for that, because you'll actually get punished by search engines because they don't like people who do that anymore. They're going for more organic user experience, so it's actually more for humans than it is for search engines. It's just a balance that you do need to try and get when you're doing the SEO for your product pages. Just a quick tip for you there. Don't do keyword stuffing. Make sure everything reads organically and it's easy to read as well. So as I said, that's the first part of your product page, is your title. The second bit is actually your URL, which is this bit at the top here. Now for me, I always like to get these to try and match the product title as closely as I can. I also like them to be unique to the product. So for this one, I've got basically all my keywords in there. I've also put the size of basically the oval on the signet ring in as well. And the reason for this is I'm not going to have another one of these on the site. I'm not going to have another men's 9-carat gold personalized 14x10 oval signet ring. If I was going to have another one, if I was just sending a plain one, I'd remove personalized, or if I had different sizes or different shapes. All of these are going to have their own unique URL. Some people fall into the trap of they'll just call it, say, men's oval signet ring 1, men's oval signet ring 2 if it's a different size. I don't like doing that, and it's not a best practice for SEO. Instead, you want them to be as all individual as possible, and also to match the product as well as they can. That's why I like to tie them into the title as well. So I like there to be some synergy. I can't believe I just used the word synergy. So some actual sync between the two SEO elements on the page to make sure that they all kind of line up, because it's going to help your SEO, because the search engines are going to understand exactly what your product is because you've included it in the product title and also the URL. Now, the third element you can look at is your product images. And this is one thing that a lot of e-commerce companies overlook. They don't SEO their product images, and I don't understand why. And this is because, from personal experience, on my e-commerce website, around about 10% of my traffic was actually from Google image search, which to me was just bonus traffic for a little bit of work that I wouldn't have got by ranking in the main search terms, because basically it was just too competitive. But in Google image search, it was really easy to rank because people hadn't SEO'd their images. And there's two ways you can SEO an image. The first one is the image title name. So when you save your file on your computer, don't just save it as signet ring number 1. Instead, match it up to the product title. So men's 9 karat gold oval personalized signet ring, something like that, as long as it's similar to the product title. Now, this is primarily for your main product image. For your secondary images, so your gallery images, things like that, this isn't as important, but it is important to put this working on your main product image. So for this one, for the product title, I would have saved it as something very similar: men's personalized oval signet ring, something very similar to the product title. The second element is the alt tag. So if you actually go back into our Shopify dashboard and we click on the image, you'll see that there's an option to edit the alt text. And if we click on that, we can add our own custom text into this. And this is something you do want to do, because this helps search engines understand exactly what the image is. Because even though search engines are getting cleverer every single year, they still struggle to understand what images are. This is because basically search engines work on algorithms that are based on code. It's not a visual thing the way we see images, it's a completely different thing. So if you put an alt text in, it's going to understand what your image is about, and it's going to help serve up your images in Google image search. So it's just a couple of little things that you can do on your product images that can actually benefit your website and actually start generating you more traffic, more organic traffic, which is very important. So that's the third element, which is your product images. I say it's your main product image that's the most important one, but it is something that you want to do, and it's worth putting the little bit of time in to do, because it really doesn't take much effort. So we'll come out of that one and we'll go back into our product page. Now, the fourth element is the main basic body of content that's available on your product page, which is your product description. And this is where you can put all your secondary keywords. So you've used your primary keywords in your product title, your URL, and also in your product images as well. But from that keyword research you did earlier, you're going to have a load of basically secondary keywords that you didn't want to put in your title or whatever. But you can start putting them into your product description. And this is where you can start ranking for secondary terms that you may not have thought possible to rank for. And that's why it's really important to actually craft a good product description. Now, the one I've done isn't the best one I've ever done. Let's say this is just a quick demo product for the purposes of this video, but it does include a lot of secondary keywords that I identified. So I've gone for classic men's oval. Some people search classic signet rings. It was a search term I saw. Then we've got things like engraved crest, engraved letterings, personalized, bespoke engraving. And another thing that would be really important for this product page is UK, because as a UK based e-commerce website, I'd want to be focused on a UK audience. It's going to be my primary audience. So if I can rank for this, that's what I'm going to do. So that's why you'll see UK is actually mentioned a few times within this product description. And when I'm creating a product description, it depends on the platform that you're using. Some platforms will actually give you two separate product descriptions. They'll have a short one that appears somewhere around here, and then a long one that appears further down the page. What I found was best practice for my websites was to do a short paragraph, so just like this one, with maximum of 2 sentences in. You want to make your product description so it's easily digestible for the reader. You don't want to put a big long block of text. The reason is people aren't going to read through it. They're not going to look look for the information that they need. They're just going to be confronted by a big block of text, and in a lot of cases they're just going to click off your website. So you don't want to do that. Instead, first paragraph, 1 to 2 sentences. If you want a second paragraph, the same thing again, 1 to 2 sentences. Keep it short, keep it snappy. Then for all the important information, so basically your item specifics, so in this case things like metal, the ring style, if you're doing electronics, all your specifications like that, list them in bullet points. Don't put them into paragraphs, because people aren't going to read through to pick this out. Whereas if it's in bullet points, it draws people's eye to it. They can see exactly what the main information for that product is, and it makes it really digestible. And one little thing I did on this product page is the ring size. Now, a lot of places I saw will give a range, so they'd go basically M to T if they was doing these sizes. But they are missing a little bit of a trick on this. This is because somebody may actually be searching men's 9-carat gold oval signet ring size P. If they've put just the range in their basically description, they're going to miss out that keyword. Whereas search engines will actually pick that up because I've highlighted that separate size. So there's a chance I could actually rank for that search term, which is a long tail keyword, basically which has got a lot of buyer intent. And if somebody clicked on this product page because that's the product they wanted, there's a good chance I'm going to convert them. So this is why I like to do these little extra steps that basically for a new e-commerce website can give you a chance of ranking against the big boys and the more established websites. But I've also got a couple of little calls to actions in here, which for SEO don't really make a lot of difference, but in terms of potential conversions could actually be very helpful. As you'll see, I've put contact us twice. I actually put contact use, spelt that one wrong, but I've put what should be contact us there and contact us there. And you could also link these to your contact page as well. And these calls to actions are encouraging people to actually take action and start the process with you. Start that conversation, start that engagement, something which a lot of companies don't do. So if you do that, you're basically encouraging people, speak to us before you place your order. Let's see what we can do. It's just a little call to action that can help with conversions. And it's something that I like to put into my product listings, just because I like to basically show people that not only can they talk to us, but also it's easy to talk to us as well. So that is another little trick for you. Now, if you've got a lot more information, if it was on this page, you would list it all down at the bottom here. You want your main basically body to be here. This is what they're going to process quickly. It's what they're going to read through, and it's what they're going to understand. You could have a lot more information down here, but most people won't read it. They just want to know the basic information. Does this match what they're looking for? So you make it really easy to read by listing a couple of short paragraphs and some bullet points with the most important information. That is how I would craft my product description. Not only is it good for SEO because it contains lots of secondary keywords, also primary keywords as well, but also it's good for the reader. It reads organically, and it's also including a couple of calls to actions as well. So the fifth and final element of this page isn't actually on the page. What we need to do is go back into our product listing, scroll all the way down, and actually go onto the search engine optimization. Now this is going to vary depending on the platform you're on. With things like Shopify, it's very easy to find. It's at the bottom of the page. Things like Ecommerce, you're just going to have to install an SEO plugin, but it depends what platform you're on as to what SEO tools you actually get. Now the thing we're going to be looking at here is the meta description. On Shopify it's just called the description. And this is the short snippet that can appear on search engine results. Now meta descriptions are nowhere near as important as what they used to be. They used to be a really crucial part of SEO, but they have kind of become a little bit redundant in the past few years. But from my experience, it's still worth spending a little bit of time and crafting a good meta description, because it can actually help you rank in search engines. As much as people say they're not important, they can still help, and they can still help with click-throughs as well. And this is because some of the keywords that appear here can actually be bolded, I think that's the word, on the search results. So if we go back into our main search, and if we start scrolling down, you'll see that the words signet ring and men's has been bolded. I'm not sure if that's the word or not, but I'm going to go with it anyway. But they are appearing and they do stand out. And this is from the meta description that H. Samuel have wrote, which is a retailer here in the UK. So this is where it can be useful to actually fill out a meta description. And for my one, I basically included the main keywords that I want the product to rank for. I also included a couple of secondary keywords, which are made in the UK and personalized engraving. But I also included a call to action as well, which is available to order now, which shows the customer, if they're reading that, oh, I can go and order this product straight away. It's another thing that's just a call to action to get people onto your site. And this is part of the thing with SEO. Not only is it ranking in search engines, it's also been a bit of a call to action to get the customer to click on your link and come through to your website. So that's why things like your title, your URL, and also your meta description can be really important. Now, sometimes search engines won't pick up on your meta description. Instead, they might find that the keywords are better presented in your description. So it'll actually pick up a snippet of your description. So if somebody was looking for signet ring with engraved crest, it might select this section of my product description. And this is where you want to use all of these SEO elements together, because you never know exactly what the customer is going to be searching for. And it might be quite an obscure search they're doing, but if you've got the keywords placed in your product description and also potentially your meta description properly, there's a chance that customer is going to kick through onto your listing. So that is SEO for your product pages, and you are going to have to go through and do this for every single product. This is because when you're just getting started, you need any advantage you can get over the competition. But another thing you do need to know is don't expect to see success with this overnight. SEO is very much a long-term marketing strategy. In a lot of cases, don't expect to see results for 6, 12, even potentially longer than 12 months. So it does take this time to see results from SEO. But in the long term, they can be a really, really useful thing to do. And it can be a useful form of marketing, because generally organic search traffic is the best converting when it comes to e-commerce. Not only is that my experience, but lots of people also back me up on that one. Now, you can also apply some of these SEO techniques to other pages on your site. So your About Me page, your collections or category pages. If you've got a blog, you want to go through the same kind of process, find the keywords, what you want to rank that blog post for. So I've created another video on blogging if you want to go and check that one out for yourself. I'll leave a link in the card up above. Can't remember which side it is. But I do focus a little bit more on blogging in that video. But when it comes to product SEO, this is the process that I went through, and I've actually got products to rank on page 1 for pretty competitive search terms. So I know this does work, and it's something that I still do today with blog posts and any other basically things that I want to rank in search engines. This is the process that I go through. So once again, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, I'd really appreciate it if you could drop a like on the video, because it really does help the channel out a lot. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do by hitting that subscribe button. And if you'd really like to support the channel, you can do so by buying me a coffee, which is very much appreciated. And I'll leave my link for that in the description below. So thank you so much for watching, guys. It is very much appreciated. Stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.